Let's look at Try Again. And the first passage, you can think of the first passage as the whole top line. So I want you to just note that along with the tablature and standard notation, I have also written in the fingerings for you. Now remember that we want to play the guitar as smart as possible and as efficiently as possible, and that's based on always what's coming next in the song. And so the fingers that I've written in there for you, that enables you to play those notes, but it also enables you to transition to the triad shapes that are coming up in the song. Okay, so when we play the guitar, we're always looking ahead to what's coming next, and then we make choices about what fingers to use based on that. Okay, let's look at the first two measures. This is what it sounds like. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4, 2, 3, 4. Now I didn't say 1 to begin the second measure, because if you look at the end of the first measure and the beginning of the second measure, you'll see that there's notes that are tied together. So in other words, after I begin the song, 1, 2, 3, and 4, that fourth beat carries into the next measure and becomes the 1 of that measure, and then I just continue on with 2, 3, 4, and then I play the first two triads. So we've got, which is actually a G. So this triad comes from this G bar chord, but we're only playing the bottom 3 strings. Because remember, just like I was saying earlier, these triads are the minimum, the bare minimum. So they literally are just 3-note chord voicings. We don't have octaves. So we've got G, G, and then D. And that D shape is one I think you're already familiar with. So that's how the top line ends. So the whole top line, once again, 2, 3, 4. When you do play that D chord at the end of the top line, it's okay to grab the open D string, because overall this song doesn't have a lot of notes in the low register, so if you can take advantage of getting that low D string, you may as well. So I grab that open D string there, the 4th string. It's not in the music, but you can play it. So work on that top line for a while. Pause the video now, work on that top line for a while, and then after 10 minutes or so, let's look at the second line, which would be measures 5, 6, 7, and 8. So right now you're working on measures 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll play for you one more time. 2, 3, 4. Practice it slowly and with a consistent tempo. Now that you've practiced measures 1 to 4, let's look at measures 5, 6, 7, and 8, which is the second line. It sounds like this. It's actually the same rhythm. 1, 2, 3, and 4, 2, 3, 4. So we've got some new triad shapes to use. Well, 1 I suppose, because, no, 2. So the picking part, measure 5. Okay, and make sure you're using the fingering that I'm suggesting. But then we play 5, 5, 5 on strings 4, 3, 2. That's actually a C chord, but it's an inversion. It's a second inversion C triad. So you can squash all those strings with your third finger, and the reason why is because because after you play that chord, you have to play the G chord with your second and first finger. So it works well to play the C with third finger, then the G, and then that's actually a D chord. So you're used to playing your D chord here, but you can also play it on fret 7, strings 4, 3, 2. Okay, so that the chords sound like this. And the reason we go down to fret 7 for that D chord is because now we're going to play the next segment of the song in that area on the fingerboard. So one more time, measures 5, 6, 7, and 8. 2, 3, 4. I'll play one more time a little bit slower. 2, 3, 4. Make sure when you're playing those 3-string triads that you're plucking or strumming those 3 strings, but only those 3 strings. Okay. So pause the video and work on measures 5, 6, 7, and 8. And what you can do is you can back up to the measure 1 and then try to play measure 1 all the way to measure 8. Measure 9 begins with a B minor triad. Now you're going to want to play that B minor triad with your third finger, holding down strings 1, 2, and 3 all on the 7th fret, so that you can just lay down your second and first finger on strings 3, 2, and 1 on fret 6 and 5. That's where you hold down both strings 1 and 2 on fret 5 with your first finger. But you can easily do that after playing the B minor, because that's exactly where your fingers are. So they're just falling down on the fingerboard and those frets are right underneath them. So once again, I really want to emphasize that you use the fingering I have written on the music for you. So B minor, A, and now we have a neat little lick, you could call it. And just take note that measure 10 has a quarter rest at the beginning of it. So the chords, measure 9, and. So I said and to represent that quarter rest. So this is what it sounds like at the beginning of measure 9. 2, 3, 4. Okay, and those are all eighth notes, so they roll along fairly consistently. And you could count it like this. It would be and 2 and. Sorry, it would be rest and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, you can think of it that way. So if I go back to the chords, rest and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, but the rest is a quarter rest. So I'm saying the word rest pretty fast. So measures 9 and 10. And then 11. Now 11 and 12 can be tricky. So look at 11, it's pretty straightforward. So 7, 7, 7, 9, 9, 9. I'm just gonna still use my third finger to hold down all 3 strings. So 7, 7, 7, then up to 9, 9, 9. And then back to the A triad on frets 6 and 5. But measure 12 goes like this. So I keep my second and first finger down on the fingerboard to play the A triad, but then I just place my third finger on fret 7, third string, like the music says, to play a sus chord, it's called. We'll talk about that one day. And then I lift it up again. So, like down, down, up, meaning my third finger on my left hand. Down, down, up. So measures 11 and 12 sound like this. I'll play that whole line for you now. 2, 3, 4. Again, a little bit slower. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so pause the video and practice that third line. That's measures 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so we're on the fourth line down, which is actually measures 13, 14, 15, 16. And this is a really neat little passage. Take note that you play it twice because there's a repeat sign at the end of it. So that'd be at the end of measure 13, 14, 16, measure 16. But what you do is you don't go back to the beginning of the song, you only go back to the beginning of measure 13. So it's like those 4 measures are bookended and you repeat only them. But they're based on triad shapes. So the first one is the A triad shape here on frets 6 and 5. And so you put the shape down, and this is almost like just a picking pattern, because what it is we pick string 3 and then 1, 2, 3. Like that. 3, 1, 2, 3 strings. 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's the beginning of the picking pattern. 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we go back up to 1, 2, 3, and then there's actually a rest. So 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's the pattern, and that pattern repeats throughout all those measures. And so once you get that pattern in your mind, when you transition to the next chord, it's the same pattern. And then the next chord, same pattern. 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then the last chord. 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So basically these 4 measures are going A, E, G, D, triads with that picking pattern. So it sounds like this. This is line 4 rather, measures 13 to 16. 2, 3, 4. And repeats. That's it. So it's very repetitive, but it's a nice movement. So practice that over and over slowly. And when you're ready, we'll move on to the last section of the song, the bottom line. Okay, so we've been going through Try Again, line by line. So we're at the end of the song, and we have another repeat to deal with. So this time we're on measure 17, 18, and that's what we have to repeat, just 17 and 18. Have a look, you'll see the repeat double dots bookended in measures 17 and 18, but there's also a little note on the top of measure 18. It says play 3 times. So it sounds like this. But we play that 3 times. And again, we've got triads thrown in there. So we've got C, play with your third finger, like the music says. G, Play it like you have been with fingers 1 and 2. And then a D. But immediately after strumming that D, we arpeggiate it. That means we pick the notes of the triad and we're picking them from strings 1, 2, and 3. So it's like we're going down. We're descending in pitch. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So we strum it and then immediately after 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So it's measure 17 and 18 sound like this. 2, 3, 4. Okay, that was 3 times. Let's play it one more time. I'll play it one more time slowly, and this time I'll play it more cleanly. 2, 3, 4. And then the last measure, 2 measures, we go G, so isn't that something? So this is one of the things I wanted you to learn in this course in general, is that this is a G chord, yes, open G chord, but so is this. So sometimes we use different voicings of the same chord just to add some variety to our playing. Here's an example. If I'm ending a song going from D to G, maybe that's the end of a song. That's okay, but what if I did something like this? Adds a little bit more variety. And all that was that this is D, but so is this, and so is this. Just 3 different Ds, inversions. So just for a little bit of variety. So that's kind of what's going on at the end of your song, Try Again. You're playing D, D, and then ending on a D. And this is one of those opportunities again where you can grab the open 4th string, the D string, to add a little bit of bass, give it a little bit more color. Okay, so that whole bottom line sounds like this. 2, 3, 4. So that's the song. It's a great song to learn different triad shapes and to explore the same chord but on different parts of the fingerboard. G, G, G. So practice it slowly. Have rewind the video and watch it. Watch the parts you need to rewatch. Practice it slowly and work up your speed as you get more familiar with it. Make sure you're using the suggested fingering and be prepared to play it once you master it and have fun with it. All the best.